The session is titled Energize Your Mind, where Gaur Gopal Das will speak about his new book and the virtues of a mindful life. Without much further ado, I would now like to invite Gaur Gopal ji on stage, please.
Okay. A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't look like you're very happy seeing me. A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. You still don't sound very happy. A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, love that now. কেমন আছি কলকাতা? আমি বাংলা জানি না, তাই আমি ইংলিশে কথা বলবো। Am I right? Okay, that's how much Bangla I know. But it's such a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be here this morning. I must thank the Tata Steel Kolkata Literature Festival for inviting me over here. And thank you all very much for coming on a Sunday morning. Oh goodness me. Coming on a Sunday morning at 11 o'clock, 11:15 to listen to a bald monk like me. Give yourselves a loud round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. You deserve it. You definitely deserve it. It's not easy to walk out of your comfortable homes on a Sunday morning to listen to a guy like me. So you definitely deserve respect from my side and applause from your own sides. I was wondering, coming to a city like Kolkata, attempting any Bengali, can go wrong, right? I mean, when you think in English and translate in some other language, it's a mess. Like a lady asked a man, translate this Hindi into English. Hindi का वाक्य था, दुख हमेशा अपने साथ रहता है. दुख हमेशा अपने साथ रहता है, सुख आता जाता रहता है. Right? दुख हमेशा अपने साथ रहता है, सुख आता जाता रहता है. Translate this into English. The guy said, wife always stays with me. Girlfriend comes and goes. My God, trust me, this guy definitely deserved a whack. The dangers of translating into a language that you're not well versed with, better don't dabble into that space. So I'd be very safe if I speak in English and add a little bit of Hindi and not attempt any Bengali. So excuse my inability to add too much Bengali to what I'm speaking this morning. But one gentleman from America came here to Kolkata and he saw a guy selling mishti doi on the street. How many of you love mishti doi? Oh wow, make some noise if you really love mishti doi, guys. Oh, such a yummy delicacy that is. Like thick, condensed in that pot. In the West you call it Greek yogurt, bloody Greek yogurt. Hamari bhasha mein mishti doi. We don't need Shobani. We just need Balram Malik. So this guy, American fellow, came here. He saw this guy by the side of the road selling thick mishti doi. And this guy doesn't know any Bengali or Hindi, and this fellow doesn't know English. So this American guy said, how? This yogurt so thick? How? This guy had no clue what to say. He said, milk night, morning tight. That's the best he could put up. Oh, I'm definitely looking forward to some mishti doi this afternoon. I'm a little ill, so I'm worried about the risks of taking mishti doi, but let's see. I want to kick off this morning's session by asking all of you a very simple yet very thoughtful question of life. How many of you fly? No, not fly as in a bird. Fly as in on an airplane. Of course, let me clarify. Oh, so some people have, what does he mean fly? Of course on an airplane. And how many of you can with complete conviction say that the takeoff of the journey is not in your control? Of course not. Of course not. I was flying from Moscow, Russia to Kiev, Ukraine. Not now. If I was doing that now, I wouldn't be standing here to talk to you. Just a couple of years back, and I took this airline called Aeroflot. What an airline. What an airline. Tough competition to Air India. Before Tata took it over. I'm speaking at the Tata Steel Literature Festival. I come on board the flight and the stewardess said, "Welcome on board, sir, we guarantee takeoff." I said, "Landing, madam?" She said, "Well, you're a monk, aren't you? Important to pray." Now we all know this, that the takeoff of the journey is not in our control at all. We cannot do anything about the takeoff. And what about the landing? Inshallah. She's saying landing, inshallah. Well, we better say inshallah. There's absolutely no control over the landing. Right? You can do nothing about it. Back in the day, there were three biggest fears people had. Number one was the fear of public speaking. Anybody? Okay. Oh, a lot of hands up there. Number two, fear of dying. Anybody? Okay, those who are not raising their hands, come to me. I have a revolver in my bag. Number three was the fear of flying on a plane. Oh yeah, so many. I guess that's why they call an airport a terminal, maybe. Possibly. Such fear of flying on a plane, you know. Oh gosh. Landing, not in our control. Takeoff, not in our control. And in between the takeoff and the landing, there's a lot of turbulence, guys. And that turbulence is not in our control as well. Three very important parameters, three very important factors of the journey are absolutely beyond our control. Helplessly beyond our control. You can do nothing about the takeoff. The pilot has to do it. You can do nothing about the landing. The pilot has to take care of it. You can do nothing about the turbulence. The pilot has to take care of it. You've taken the journey. You paid for it. And the three most important parameters of the journey are not in our control. And I feel life is exactly like that. The takeoff of the journey of our life, represented by our birth, is absolutely not in our control. How many of you guys chose your parents? Nobody. How many of you guys chose your looks? Nobody looks as beautiful as their Instagram display picture. And nobody looks as obnoxious and ugly as their Aadhaar card picture. I can't imagine why can't they just click a better picture? It's me, not a criminal. So overwhelmingly beyond our control. The takeoff, birth. कुछ नहीं कर सकते हम. कुछ नहीं कर सकते हम. Look, if you were born poor, it wasn't your fault. If you die poor, you probably didn't get it right. If you're born unknown to anybody, it's not your fault. If you die unknown to anybody, you probably didn't crack it. If you're born miserable crying, not your fault. If you die crying, you didn't live right, guys. That's why they had that Hindi song, right? रोते हुए आते हैं सब. अरे क्या बात है, गीता का श्लोक पूछो. रोते हुए आते हैं सब, हंसता हुआ जो जाएगा वो मुकद्दर का सिकंदर कहलाएगा. Oh wow. I have too many editors in the front row. It's a lit fest. The audience edits the author. Oh gosh. The fact of the matter is this though. Right? We can't do much about birth. It's not in our control. And can we do anything about death? The landing of the journey of our life? Unless we emergency land the plane, which is suicide. What's suicide? Emergency landing. It's not natural landing. But sometimes I just feel so bad, so pained for people who end their lives because they find death easier than living. They find the pain of death better than the pain of living. The pain of living gets so overwhelmingly intense that they prefer the pain of dying. Nevertheless, if it's not an emergency landing, we all know well that the plane will land in its own time. Doesn't matter how we want it to land, doesn't matter when we want it to land, it must land, it will land, and it'll land on its own terms. Like there was a 65-year-old lady and she had a 30 odd year old nephew, and she would, every time there was a wedding in the family, she would nudge him. Next is your turn. And young guys hate that. Next is your turn to get married. 8 months later, there was a death in the family. Both went for the funeral. Both were standing right next to each other. This time he nudged her. Next is your turn, mum. Or whenever our turn does come, landing happens, guys. And the problem is, no matter how much we want to live forever, that happily lived forever is a crappy mess. That happily lived forever is a crappy mess. Doesn't exist. Because somehow or the other, the plane that's taken off must land. And the beauty of life is we don't care for the takeoff. We shouldn't bother about the landing as well. They are events. They happen once. But there's a long journey between the takeoff and the landing, which is not an event, it's a journey. Wedding is an event. Marriage is a journey. Events get over. Journeys continue. Getting admitted into a college and getting a degree is an event. Making a career is a journey. It's an ongoing process to keep succeeding. Subscribing to a gym membership is an event. Going to the gym every day, working out, keeping your diet in control is a journey. And which is why we do not want to define ourselves by events. We want to define our life by a journey. And that journey is between takeoff and landing. Sometimes spiritual leaders and spiritual gurus focus too much on death and birth. I hate it. We should be focusing on life, not on birth and death. Because the greatest gift we've been offered is life. And how to live a beautiful life in a way that the journey is beautiful, because सफर खूबसूरत है मंजिल से भी मेरी हर कमी को है तू लाज़मी जो मेरा बनो मैं तेरे काबिल तेरे बिना गुज़ारा। अभी और क्या बोलूं मैं। सफर खूबसूरत है मंजिल पे भी, और मंजिल में पहुंचते पहुंचते ना सफर को भूल जाते हैं। और उस सफर में हम इंग्लिश सफर करते हैं, SUFFER। There is a Hindi suffer and there is an English suffer, and if you do not relish and enjoy the journey, the suffer, you are only going to the English suffer. And this is why, between takeoff and landing, we want to really have a great journey, guys. But the problem is, when we're trying to have a fantastic journey, there's a lot of turbulence. A lot of turbulence which is also beyond our control at times. Oh. And that turbulence is exactly what we call problems, issues, challenges, difficulties, कठिनाइयाँ, समस्याएं. How many of you have problems in your life? A good audience, everybody's raising their hands. Sometimes people don't raise their hands. And they don't raise their hands out of just being courteous. Not that they don't have problems, everybody has problems. And everybody comes to me to ask me, Guruji, problems का कोई solution है क्या आपके पास? Once a married guy came up to me and said, Guruji, married life में इतनी problems चल रही है, कोई solution है क्या? मैंने उससे कहा भाई, solution होता तो मैं ऐसा क्यों बनता? Just on the light, guys, you come up in the morning. I must make you laugh a little bit before I give my strong message. Are you all okay? Are you all with me, guys? Make some noise. Oh, brilliant. I love that energy. I love that Kolkata energy, the Mishti Doi energy. It's lovely. Sweet Kolkata Vasi. The Bengali sweets are the best. They're lovely, aren't they? It's nothing like Bengali sweets. The, what is that? Talir good? No. No, Nolen good. Nolen gooder Sandesh. Oh gosh. Always asking me, was there any solution? Can I walk down to you? It's very boring place, the stage. Woo! It's a very boring place out there. I love to come to people. Huh? Hot? No, I didn't come for the heat though. I can tell you. It's definitely hot. Of course it's hot. You know what? People keep asking me, is there a solution to the problem? I tell them, just pick your phone up, go to your wallpaper settings,
দাদা একটু একটু আগে
and change your wallpaper, both the home screen and the lock screen, to the picture of your spouse if you're married, and your girlfriend or boyfriend if you're in a relationship. And whenever you have a serious trouble in life, just pick your phone up and look at it like this. And say to yourself, if I can handle this, I can handle any damn thing in my life. Handle any bloody damn thing in my life. Oh, jokes apart, we are all wanting to handle this turbulence, guys. मतलब हंसाते हंसाते एक बहुत सच्चाई बता रहा हूँ मैं आपको, क्योंकि बिना हंसे सच्चाई बताए तो बहुत कड़वी लगती है. हंसते हंसते थोड़ा सा इजी हो जाता है उसी बात को मानना जिससे हम गुजर रहे हैं. टर्ब्यूलेंस. किसी की शादी में तकलीफ है, किसी की जॉब में तकलीफ है, किसी को चैलेंज बच्चा हुआ है, किसी के मदर को टर्मिनल कैंसर है, किसी को डिप्रेशन है, कोई लोनली है, कोई रिजेक्टेड है, कोई हर्ट है. बहुत टर्बुलेंस है जी लाइफ में. And the journey of life, when we try to energize our mind, when we try to be happy with life, when we try to make that safar more khoobsurat than the manzil, that journey between takeoff and landing, what we really, really need is the art of navigating through that turbulence. The expert a pilot, more expert a pilot you are, to learn how to navigate through that turbulence, that's how much effective you will be in experiencing life. If you do not know how to navigate through that turbulence, if you do not know how to master the art of navigating that turbulence, believe me, it's not going to be an easy life. It's not an easy life for anybody. It's not an easy life for you, it's not an easy life for me, it's not an easy life for bloody anybody in the world. Life is what it is, and life does what life does. Throws lemons at us, and it's easy to say when life throws lemons, make lemonade. Sounds good as a quote, right? Sounds good as a quote. But when life does throw some serious lemons, lemonade is out of the window. The only thing that comes in is depression and hopelessness. Am I right or not? All these Instagram quotes sound very nice. How many of you see my Instagram reels? They sound great, isn't it? They pep you up, right? And then you come to reality in life, you see it's still a struggle. I'm not lying, I'm just saying we're just talking about the realities of life. Just kind of get to the struggles of life, the real issues of life. And which is precisely why I write these books, I make these reels, I make this content not to spoon feed you. I write these books, I make these reels, I put out all that content so you empower yourself to navigate this journey. Right? You can't just keep taking help of people. You can't keep taking help of people. Ultimately, you have to fly your own plane. And you have to navigate through your own turbulence. Nobody is going to do that for you. So how does one really go through all these issues, these problems, these challenges, these difficulties, these trials, these tribulations? How does one... How does one? Yes, madam, I'm loud. Is that all right? I love that. Kolkata is amazing. They don't spare anybody. Loud. Here I am, very loud. I love that. I love this audience. You're the best audience I've met in the world, guys. Of course, I say that everywhere I go. But you're really lovely. I must say, you're lovely people. How does one really navigate, through all of these challenges and master that art? If you can do that, you'll live a life. If you can't do that, you just go in the autopilot mode through all those emotional roller coasters and the turbulence that keeps us occupied all our lives, right? So here's my take on this. How does one navigate through that turbulence? How many of you were like really brilliant at mathematics when you were in school? Okay. How many of you were like absolutely terrible at mathematics when you were in school? Oh, I love that. I love that. Honest crowd here. And how many of you didn't care a damn about mathematics in school? That's the largest raise of hands I'm seeing. Just get your exams cleared, pass the exams, done. One teacher once came to class, and when people are really involved in your talk, when they turn their heads to you and you go back. I know my audience is with me. सब पीछे मुड़ के देख रहे हैं. चिंता नहीं कीजिए, 2 मिनट में आगे आ जाऊंगा, नहीं तो स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस हो जाए. भाग के कहाँ जाऊंगा सर यहाँ से? ये भागने देंगे मुझे? Oh. So this teacher came to a classroom and 7-year-olds and asked the kids, if a ship is sinking, a frog is croaking, and potatoes are 20 rupees for a kilo, guess what my age is? The kid said, can you come back with that question? She said, a ship is sinking, a frog is croaking, and potatoes are 20 rupees a kilo, guess what my age is? One boy raised his hand and said, 32, madam. She said, you're bang on, man, that's absolutely correct. But how did you get that answer correct? He said, well, my sister's 16 years old and she's half mad. Has to be 32. पूरी पागल है, ऐसा कोई question पूछता. Who asks a question like that, right? Oh, in the equation of life, I'm an engineer, so everything has to be equations. And in the equation of our life, the equation of solving problems, every problem has 2 components to it. That turbulence that we are talking about has 2 components to it. The first component of that equation is a constant. An equation can have a constant. Like we have pi, 3.1418. No matter what you do, you can't change that constant. You cannot attempt to. Mathematicians will call you insane, crazy, that you're trying to change a constant. It's called a constant because you can't change it. And there's a second component in that equation, x, which is a variable, which you can work on, which you can change. And every equation, a problem-solving equation, a life problem-solving equation, has a constant to it. A constant that you can do nothing about. And to try to change those things that are completely beyond us are like going and hitting our head against a wall. The world doesn't move. Our head hurts. You know, guys, who is causing this mental anguish and agony? Not people who hurt you, you. Because you allow that hurt to be going in your minds. They are going to be who they are going to be. Those idiots are going to be idiots. They'll do what they do, they'll say what they are hardwired to be toxic. There are people who are hardwired to be toxic and you cannot change those people. That's a constant, it's a pi. And to try and change that pi, like I said, is hitting your head against a wall. Those guys don't change. You hurt yourself constantly by allowing them to come in your minds. And which is precisely why to be able to identify those constants is so crucial. Yeah, I can't change this. The wall can't move. The only case a wall will move is when somebody is like a... अरे दारू क्या है एकदम बोला आपने वर्ड भी एकदम ऐसा दारू दारू imagine a compulsive alcoholic like one guy comes up to me and says Guruji uh, what is more powerful? 15 liters of milk or 200 ml of unadulterated vodka? Asking me, of all people. I said, look, I am a teetotaler. I've never touched a drop of alcohol in my life. So, 15 liters of milk. He said, wrong. I said, how? He said, drink 15 liters of milk. Go and kick the wall. Bang your head against the wall. Wall will move. Take 200 ml of unadulterated Smirnoff. Just stand. The wall will automatically start. Believe me, you ladies and gentlemen, it's very crucial and important to identify those things that are completely beyond our control. In that turbulence, there will be people, there will be situations, there will be circumstances that you cannot do anything about. I'm not saying don't try, but after having attempted, when you realize that it's just beyond me, there comes a time when you have to learn the art of acceptance. That this is into the acceptance bucket, this is a pie for me. Let me shift my attention to the X, the variable. When I shift my attention to the X, life becomes a beautiful journey. Beautiful journey. Because it empowers you, it gives you confidence, it gives you satisfaction, it gives you joy. When life is focused on the pie, it gives you depression, it gives you frustration, it gives you annoyance. Because you cannot do anything about it. The more your mind is simply focused on those things that you can't change, what are you going to feel? Confident or depressed? Hopeless or hopeful? And which is precisely why it's so very crucial when you want to energize your mind to shift your attention constantly. सफर खूबसूरत बनाना है तो हार्ड वर्क है वो, अपने आप नहीं होता है. नेगेटिविटी अपने आप होती है, पॉजिटिविटी हार्ड वर्क करना पड़ता है. नफरत अपने आप होती है, प्यार करना पड़ता है. सब हम लोग जोर से बोल रहे हैं. दुख अपने आप होता है, सुख करना पड़ता है. चॉइस देगी सज्जनों. And which is why I wrote this book, Energise Your Mind. The entire purpose of writing this book was this: to help each other, ourselves, take control of our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions, and shift our attention from the constants to the variables. What is it that we can do with our depression? What is it that we can do with the guilt I feel because I wasn't there by my father's side when he was leaving this world? What is it that I can do when I feel FOMO? What is it that I can do when this mental chatter is troubling me? I can't sleep. I'm lying there in bed and my mind is continuously, constantly chattering. I can't sleep. What is it that I can do? When somebody criticizes me, hurts me, what is it that I can do? Ladies and gentlemen, we are human beings and we are blessed with the greatest potential, and that greatest potential is to choose how to live our lives. And we need to make those choices. Otherwise, life will pass in that autopilot mode, just going from one turbulence to another turbulence, and life will end. We will have to make those conscious choices. That was the purpose behind writing Energize Your Mind. To help all of you share my personal experiences in what is it that we can do. Otherwise, the mind is only showing us what is it that we can't do. And it is the journey from the can't to the can. I'll end with this little thing that I began the book with. All of this is just extempo stuff, seeing all of you. Now one little story just to end with from the book. This is how the book begins. I was in Singapore, invited for an event to speak. It was called Masters of the Century. And 1,000 odd young people sitting there, all youngsters. And youngsters are amazing. Their energy is like, and elderly people, not that you're not amazing. Sab log bol rahe, "Hamara kya?" There's always the young and the young at the heart. Always amazing. There's 1,000 young guys sitting and not a single Indian. All non-Indians. I mean, if there's an Indian crowd, for me, it's like a walk. Come in, no prep. Walk, start. Say a few things and people immediately resonate because we are all same. We may live in different states of India, but we are all the same country, the same ethnicity. We can resonate. But when culturally such diverse crowds, that's where you test your waters. अभी देखता है कितना छक्का चौका मारता है ये. That's when you test your batting skills. I did well actually. I didn't do all that, but I was good. I got a lot of applause and cheer, and I got a standing ovation for 5 minutes. I won't shy away from that because it was a non-Indian audience. And then after I finished my talk, I was walking off. They took me backstage. And from the other side of the audience, I kept hearing this loud sound, Sophia, 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 Sophia. And I'm like, did they get it wrong? When the audience asked you to do an encore, they should have shouted, Gaur Gopal, once more, Gaur Gopal. And they're shouting, Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. I thought something's wrong with these guys. So I kind of guessed that there must be the speakers there were of a very high caliber, very highly ranked A-level speakers. So I guess there must have been someone called Sophia who was like the next speaker, and I thought it probably was Sofia Vergara from Modern Family. So assuming it was Sofia Vergara, I was walking backstage and one of those guys asked me, would you like to meet Sophia? मैं बोला एक गंजे साधु को सोफिया वर्गरा से मिलने का चांस तभी मिलेगा, अभी बोल ही रहा है तो चले जाते हैं. So I said, let's go. He just asked, would you like to meet Sophia? I said, yeah. Assuming it's Sofia Vergara. So he took me to the room, and there were these two bouncers. You know what bouncers are? Hefty, muscular guys, like their muscles are rippling out of their shirt, like the shirt's no bound. It's like coming out like this. Standing there like their pecs all like this. Sophia, गंजे तेरी हिम्मत तो सोफिया से मिलेगा. That kind of vibe, you know. They were standing there trying to make sure nobody comes to see Sophia. So then this guy who brought me there, realizing that these guys mean our love, said, no, Guruji will want to see Sophia. So he said, sorry, the bouncer there, sorry, Sophia is getting plugged in. I was very shocked to hear this new Singaporean slang. Plugged in. मतलब हम लोग आजकल का भाषा ही बदल गया है. कुछ भी बोलते हैं, you know, it's like when I give a good talk, they say you killed it, Swami ji. बोले यार मैंने जिंदगी में किसी को मारा नहीं तो क्यों बोल रहा है? Otherwise they'll say you're smashing it, man, or you're slaying it. ऐसा भाषा हो गया, वो जो smash slay का meaning था पूरा बदल गया है आज. The connotation has all changed. So when you say plug in, she's getting plugged in. So I thought plugging in means, you know, like something like you get into your space before you speak, plug into the venue, plug into your space, plug into your preps, plug into your thoughts. That's what I assumed. She's getting plugged in. Or some people even use devices, like I use a certain device. It's a electromagnetic frequency device. If I feel a little ill or something, I just plug in and get those vibes magnetic. It's a German device, I'm not going to tell the brand. It gives you a lot of energy. Yeah. So I do that sometimes. So that plug in means is you a device, plug into a thought. As I was thinking, what does this Singaporean new jargon of plugging in means? Out the doors opened. Darshan. The doors opened. And out came Sophia. Not walking. They were carrying her. She was a robot. The very first humanoid made on planet Earth. A robot who's like a human being, who can move her eyes, who can smile and move her head, can speak like a human being. And that's when I got the context of when they said she's getting plugged in. She was literally getting plugged in to charge herself up before she comes on stage. They brought her on stage, and man, I must tell you, she was a riot. Like, that's the language now. She was a riot. Like, believe me, she was an absolute riot on stage. She answered every question with such precision. Such precision. And every time somebody was kept doing the stuff. And impressive. I'm an engineer, I must tell you, she was an absolute riot. Impressive. But every answer was programmed into her. Not a single answer was her own. She couldn't think. She didn't have thoughts. You were thinking. If Sophia was in the audience, she would be programmed to think. She'd be programmed to applause. You applauded, you laughed, you cried, you felt touched, you felt this is my problem. Sophia couldn't do that. Because she was a humanoid at the end of the day. And then whenever, like, Sophia was programmed to function based on what was going on inside the machinery, inside the system, right? When I speak, I thrive on people's energy. That's why I walked down. Why do I walk down? Because your energy makes me say it more. If you were like, I would also be like, नहीं चाहिए मेरे को, जाओ तुम. How many of you felt like you went to a party and you felt unwanted and felt hurt? You ever feel that? And I was right there. If I'm walking into you, I feel that energy, energized. If you don't give me that same response, I feel like dead. I thrive on your energy. You thrive on my energy. That's called vibing. Your vibes inspire me. My vibes inspire you. Sophia, everything she said and did on stage, she didn't feel anything. As human beings, we feel inspired, we feel hurt, we feel demotivated, we feel motivated, we feel annoyed, we feel frustrated, we feel let down, we feel angry, we feel depressed, we feel lonely, we feel hurt, we feel rejected. Insan hai na, Sophia nahi. That's why chapter 1 is called You're Not Sophia. Title of the first chapter is You're Not Sophia. You're all human beings with real feelings and emotions. And energize your mind. 3 minutes to go before I end. It's 11:57. I'm meant to conclude at 12. And I'm a man who keeps time. Huh? Oh, thank you. You're welcoming me to Kolkata. Thank you so much, sir. I love these guys. From random corners, they say, welcome to Kolkata. Which corner? I have to see which corner he was welcoming me from. Thank you, sir. Thank you. As it's just about 2 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, in fact, as we end. Chapter 1 of Energize Your Mind is about You're Not Sophia. We are humans with real feelings, real emotions. We go through that turbulence between takeoff and landing. Energize Your Mind was written to help you navigate that turbulence, to focus on what you can do. And chapter 1 talks about this model called the feel, deal, heal model. Feel is when you go to a doctor, the more you are able to describe what you're going through, the doctor can treat you better. If you can't describe your symptoms well, it's hard for the doctor to figure out what's going on. So when you say I'm angry, you have to describe what is it that angry, frustrated, annoyed, upset. Describe precisely what you feel, not just I feel angry. So chapter 1 talks about that. And then chapter 1 talks about, after having identified what it is, how to deal with it and how to heal from it. That's the purpose of Energize Your Mind, so that our journey of life becomes beautiful. Safar खूबसूरत है मंजिल से भी. Thank you all for leaving your comfortable beds and coming here this morning for this session. Thank you very much, Kolkata. It's been a great, great joy and pleasure to be with all of you lovely people of Kolkata for this morning session at Kolkata Lit Fest. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you. Woo! Thank you. Woo! Woo! Thank you. Oh yes, they're saying 10 minutes of audience questions. Wow. All right. Okay. Yes, sir.
So this is the sunniest Sunday of the year, probably, hearing you. So my question is, I'm sure you are very much aware why you are a successful speaker. You are very much aware of that. Reading, wisdom, oratory skill, vocabulary, everything. Tell me one thing. One monk who died in 1902 near Calcutta, who stormed the entire India by his oratory skill and everything. We have read lot many things about the man. We read his own writing. He was a prolific writer. But unfortunately, due to the technology, nobody had seen him in any video clip, how he used to speak. Do you think, are you the shadow of the man?
Question is so loaded, the microphone failed, sir. Your question is so loaded. How do you ask a question like that? Kolkata has the ethos of intellectualism. That's Kolkata. Intellectual thought. So questions also have to be loaded like that, right? Oh gosh. Whew. Bengal, sir, Bengal, madam, yes, yes, Bengal, of course, Bengal. Sorry, I said Kolkata, Bengal. Oh, lovely, lovely, IIT Kharagpur. Yes, can I just answer this one first? Sure. So, about this one question, of course, technology fails. Don't worry, I went to Google headquarters, West Coast of America. The projector didn't work there. This is Kolkata, chalta hai. So, there have been so many great people that have walked this planet, that walked the state of Bengal. Prolific writers, speakers, prolific thinkers, thought leaders, influencers, spiritual reformers, so many. And it is sheer audacity, high-headedness, arrogance, ego, to say that we could, in any way, shape or form, be a shadow of those great people. It is sheer audacity, I would say. Right. At the same time, these great thinkers, these great leaders, these great spiritual reformers have left a path behind. And in Sanskrit, there are two terms. One is called Onukoron, and the second is called Onusoron. Onukoron and Onusoron. Onukoron is imitation, blindly trying to shadow somebody. And Anusoron is following in the path, learning the principles, learning what they spoke. And we are always learners, always perpetually students. Nobody has mastered life that's saying that I got it all right. Nobody can say that. So my humble answer to that question is, who am I? A tiny, insignificant particle on planet Earth. Before me there have been so many. After me there will be so many. I am just privileged enough, grateful enough that I've been given this opportunity to render some service to humanity. That's all I can say. Right. Otherwise, मेरे पहले बहुत है और मेरे बाद भी बहुत रहेंगे. मुझसे पहले. What's that song? I don't know. What's the stanza? नहीं वो तो जानता हूँ उसका stanza क्या है second. हाँ मुझसे पहले कितने शायर आए और आकर चले गए. कुछ नगमे गा कर चले गए, कुछ डैश डैश करके चले गए. वो भी एक पल का किस्सा थे, मैं भी एक पल का किस्सा हूँ. खो जाऊंगा आज तुम्हारा हिस्सा हूँ मैं, पल दो पल का शायर हूँ, पल दो पल मेरी कहानी है, पल दो पल मेरी हस्ती है, पल दो पल मेरी जवानी। Why are we taking ourselves so seriously? There's so many great people before us, so many great people after us. The only one thing we can all think in our own respective lives, we are privileged, blessed, and grateful that we have some role to play in adding some little value in the lives of people in this world. Anything else? One, maybe one. Yes, madam. Yeah, that lady is like, oh, sorry, whoever the microphone, they do it. I don't do it. I can't choose. Yes, ma'am.
नमस्कार
Namaskar
जी
ji.
मैं एक मेंटल हेल्थ वर्कर हूँ
Oh,
आई डू
wow.
साइकोलॉजिकल काउंसलिंग
Amazing.
and most of my clients they come and ask me which I wonder what to say. Why do wrong things happen to good people who have never harmed anybody?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, Kolkata. Save me from Kolkata. These questions are loaded questions, of course. Why do bad things or wrong things happen to good people? I mean, we are now kind of dabbling in the space of philosophy because these answers can't be gotten without getting into the space of philosophy. And if you dabble into the space of philosophy, it's a space and a zone which is a little risky to tread, but I'll kind of give you a taster on it. You can say so much about it, but just a taster on it. Right? One thing is for sure, in this world we live where every choice we make must have a consequence to it. Can we make a choice and not have a consequence? I chose to take alcohol, there's a consequence. I choose to have substance, I'm going to have it. I choose to say something to somebody, there's a consequence. I choose to go to the gym, there's a consequence. Every choice is accompanied with a consequence. Correct? You can't separate it. Now some of those consequences come to us immediately. Yet there are some consequences which take a longer time to come. Like if I eat 5 chocolates a day, beyond my 2,500 calories diet, within a couple of weeks I'll add 3-4 kilos. It's a very immediate thing. If I am an alcoholic and I take alcohol, my liver is not going to give up in a year. It's going to probably take a couple of years before my liver starts failing. Both places I made a choice. Is that consequences can come immediately and consequences can come at some point in time later as well. What if we were to look at this life as one amongst the many lives we had? What if we were to look at choices we made sometime in the past for which we didn't get consequences then because it takes a whole while to get those consequences coming to us at a much later stage in our life? So wrong never comes to wrong. Wrong only comes to the wrong choices we have made. It's just that right now we have not made wrong choices and we don't have access to see when we have made wrong choices. So I'm thinking despite my making good choices, why are these wrong consequences coming? But if there is a consequence, there has to be a choice. How can there be a consequence coming to your life without having made a choice? But I didn't make any choice now. I still get it. Which basically means then it asks us to dwell into something in the past. That's where I said it gets into the space of philosophy. So I really do not think that good choices get wrong or wrong choices get good. Wrong will lead to wrong consequences. Good will lead to good consequences. When is the question? And because I don't have access to my past beyond this life, I kind of get confused that when I didn't do anything wrong, how am I getting this wrong at this time? At the same time, having philosophically known this, we can't be saying this to people who are in trouble. It's very insensitive, harsh, impolite, lacks empathy by saying, oh, तूने पाप किया था ना? तेरे पाप का फल भुगत रहा है तू. How silly. Look at the choice of words I made. Choices and consequences. I didn't say paap, punya stuff. Choices and consequences, right? You can imagine how insensitive it would be to say somebody in the face, oh, your child is born like this. Uske paap ka phal hai. God, stop that junk. Stop that shitty stuff. Be sensitive and empathetic to people. At the same time, philosophically we know And there must have been a choice somewhere that has led to a consequence at the moment, because we live in the world of cause and effect, and there's no effect without a cause. That makes sense? Alright, I think we've probably run out of time. Yes, thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to all of you. Thank you all for coming this morning, and wish you all the best, and have a great time at the Kolkata Lit Fest. Thank you.
Please do not crowd here. He'll be going to the bookstore to sign his latest book, Energize Your Mind. So you can head out to the bookstore and queue up there. He'll be going there shortly to sign his books. Thank you.